Welcome to the Virtual Manager podcast. My name's Anna Russell. I'm an artist manager and founder of The Virtual Manager. Throughout my career, I've developed and managed several music artists from new unsigned acts right through to globally successful ones. This podcast is for all unmanaged or independent music artists who want to start, build, or grow a successful, sustainable music career. One of the things that music artists regularly tell me they don't feel confident in is selling. Selling themselves, selling their music. And this isn't really surprising. For most of us, sales isn't something that comes naturally, even if you are very entrepreneurial. Instead, it's something that has to be practiced. And the only way to practice it, of course, is to do it. But if you want to make a full-time living from your music, you do need to get comfortable with selling to one extent or another. And certainly with the idea of marketing and promoting yourself. Now, for the purposes of this podcast episode, I'm talking about the actual act of selling your music and/or products. However, some of the same principles which I'll be discussing in this also apply to the act of selling yourself when it comes to meetings or face-to-face situations with music industry personnel. In this episode, I'm going to tell you the 3 core things that, in my experience, once you have in place, allow you to sell confidently. And I'm also going to share 3 ways that you can improve and practice your sales skills. So here are the 3 core things to have in place, which will make it much easier to confidently sell yourself and your music. Number 1, it sounds obvious, but it's often something that is niggling and not quite in place. And that is, you've got to be incredibly proud of the product. In your case, this probably means your music. If you don't feel your music or your product is right, you will always struggle to sell it because it means you're trying to sell something which you don't fully believe in. And the way in which you approach selling and promoting yourself and your music will show that. People will be able to sense that you are not quite as proud of the product or don't believe in it as much as you should. So you need to have absolute pride in the product, the music, which means making sure that the music is in place before you try to do anything else. The same goes for any type of packaging or for any type of merchandise that you are creating. Essentially anything that you are trying to sell as an artist, you need to have complete pride in it. So for example, don't create merchandise that you yourself would not buy. Make sure that you are really proud of every single thing that you put out or approve to be sold in your name. The second core thing to make sure you have in place before you can sell confidently is your brand. So when we say brand, I'm really just talking about your identity as a music artist. So you want to have a strong brand. You want to feel, again, proud of your brand. And it must be authentic and true to who you are as an artist, even if you perform under a persona. If your brand as an artist is not aligned with who you truly are, you'll always feel uncomfortable putting yourself and your music out there. And you'll certainly feel uncomfortable about trying to make sales. Knowing what your strengths are as an artist, being sure in your identity, your personality, and making sure that these are heavily showcased in your music and your activities and your branding will make it much easier for you to sell whatever it is you're selling confidently. Now, one thing to make sure that you have in place and think about when you're thinking about brand is consider what your distinctive selling points are as an artist. And notice I don't say unique, I say distinctive because, so little of who we are as people can be completely unique to us. But what is distinctive about you as an artist? Is this showcased in your music and your products and anything else that you're trying to sell about yourself? You want to ideally be able to identify 3 to 5 distinctive selling points. So for example, it might be your incredibly powerful, rich voice, or it might be the colorful, extravagant costumes that you wear in your live shows. But think of 3 to 5 distinctive selling points and be really clear on what those are and make sure that you're showcasing them in what you do and in what you're selling as an artist. Knowing your distinctive selling points will also help you to get clear on who your ideal target fans are. And this brings us to the 3rd core thing that you need to have in place to sell your music confidently. Knowing who your ideal target fans are makes selling a lot easier because you're then trying to sell to the people who you already know or feel certain are those that will most like and respond well to your music, to your products, to who you are as an artist. This makes the process of selling, not to mention fan base building, flow, rather than it feel like you're pushing a giant rock uphill. You're selling to people who already want what it is that you are selling. With those 3 core things in place, so being really proud of your product, in your case, your music, being really strong in your brand, your identity as an artist, and being really clear on who your ideal target fans, your fan base demographic are, those are absolutely crucial to you being able to sell your music confidently. After that, selling is something you need to practice to get better at it. It's a muscle that needs to be exercised regularly. So here are 3 ways in which you can practice that sales muscle. First of all, you need to get over your fear of sales. And this is mostly a mindset matter. If you want to make a full-time living from your music, this is predicated on you being able to make money from it. So you need to get over your fear of sales or in selling yourself as soon as you can. Bear in mind that there is nothing wrong with wanting to be paid in exchange for something of value that you create or put out or provide for people. But if you don't believe that, nobody else will either. It's also good to bear in mind that it's rarely the music itself, i.e. the recordings, that you are selling. These are more like ambassadors for what you do sell, such as rights to your music, merchandise, your brand or your name, your performances, your live shows. A lot of this is what you are actually selling. So just keep that in mind. And also remember that as a music artist, you are self-employed as the owner of a business that is you. The only way that business can survive is by making sales, selling yourself, and earning money from what you do. You may not believe in sales or selling, but you do believe in your music. If you didn't, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast now. So focus on the value of what it is you have to offer as an artist, both literally and metaphorically, and expect to be paid for it. Here's the next way in which you can practice and strengthen your sales muscle. So number 2, ask for the sale. It sounds really, really obvious, but lots of people aren't actually asking for the sale. They aren't actually showcasing what it is they have for sale, whether that's your records or your merchandise or anything else. Now, the more you ask for the sale, the easier it becomes. And what might feel like torture to you now will eventually become automatic and easy with practice. But don't assume that people know what you have to sell or when you're selling it if you are not regularly telling them. You need to make sure that you are showing and reminding your fans and followers what it is you're selling, when, how they can get it, how much it costs, and asking them to support you in what it is that you're doing. Include sales links everywhere where your products appear. So for example, in your social media URLs, on your website pages, in all your streaming pages and platforms, in the more info section on your YouTube videos, make sure there is a link for people to be able to buy whatever it is that you are selling. Make it easy for people to buy what it is that you're offering. When you are selling something, explain both the features of what that thing is you're selling and also the benefits of buying the item. What is the incentive for your fans, your customers, the buyers, in purchasing whatever it is that you're selling? What do they get from the sale? Point that out to them. When you're talking about something that is on offer, so something that you're selling, whether that's through a post on social media, whether that's an email out to your mailing list, or anywhere else that you are talking about or selling something, make sure that you leave a call to action. So, for example, if you are posting on social media with a throwback picture to recording a previous release, why not include a PS? Sales don't always have to be blatant or the primary thing you're pointing out. But when you're telling the story, for example, of where a song is recorded, why not put, on the end of it, PS, if you want to get this song on vinyl, we have some still left in our shop online. They don't always have to be right up front. You don't have to feel like you're being a salesman, but it's really nice to remind your fans and followers that what it is you're talking about, what it is that you're showing them is already on offer and they can go and get it now if they'd like to. So include sales links everywhere your products appear. Absolutely. It's really, really important. Next, think of the obvious places and times to sell. So when you think about the places you might be selling your music or your merchandise or your products of any kind, this is definitely going to include at gigs and festivals. People love to go home with a reminder of a great night and your great set. And you also want to make sure that you're selling on your website and your social media. However, a very large, if not the largest portion of your sales will always come from your mailing list. That's because those that have subscribed to your mailing list are the fans who are most invested and loyal to you. It's also because you can directly market and sell to them at any time you like by simply sending them an email with a link to whatever you're selling in it. So make sure that you're utilizing that amazing tool as much as you can and as often as you can. Also be thinking about when are the best times to be selling your music or selling your products. So for example, a good time to sell might be when you're promoting something new, like an upcoming gig or a brand new release. But it also might be a good time to sell semi-regularly at times when you're not necessarily promoting something, but you just want to remind fans and followers of a product or a piece of merchandise that is already on your shop or on your website and ready for them to get. Again, don't be scared to remind people of what you have to offer. It's likely that you're getting new fans and new followers all the time, and they might not be aware of what you previously had on sale or what's already out there. So make sure that you're reminding people at regular intervals. Likewise, when something you're doing as an artist is getting lots of traction or renewed interest, so for example, there's been a surge in new followers or a surge in new subscribers because an older track that you put out has just been featured on a major playlist, or it's got a great sync slot on a high-profile TV show, this is also a prime time to sell that music or sell something to these people. They're letting you know that they are kind of ready and eager to buy. So it's a good time to just re-promote your products and your music. You can also run promotions or sales at particular times of year. So for example, this week is Christmas. So why not arrange a Boxing Day sale or a New Year's sale for your fans and followers? The same goes for other notable holidays, Black Friday, or even just seasonal sales pushes. So maybe you decide as an artist that once a quarter, so once every 3 months, you're going to do a big promotion or a sale around your music or the products that you've got ready to buy. Remember that you don't try to promote or sell something one time only. As a music artist, you have an ongoing and ever-growing inventory of stock in the way of music, merchandise, regular gigs, and perhaps other products and packages that you sell. So make sure that you're actually always going back to older products that people can buy, as well as letting them know about new ones that come onto the market whenever you're doing that. So when you think about when might be good times to sell, or for the year ahead that is now coming, why don't you map out now when you're going to promote your products or promote your music for sale over the coming 6 to 12 months. Maybe you'll plan in some holiday sales or some sales around particular events this year that are happening for you as an artist. So why don't you map that out now? It's a really good way of being able to prepare to sell and also setting yourself some sales targets. So over the next 6 months, you're going to try and sell 200 t-shirts, for example. So when are you going to sell that? Where? When are all the different opportunities that you have to sell those products in those coming months? Finally, to help you sell more confidently, create content and marketing materials that help you sell. You don't need to do it on your own. You can create amazing tools that allow you to really showcase your music and your products and do some of the work for you. These could be videos, images, blogs, vlogs, podcasts, audio and video teasers, behind the scenes, exclusive tracks, competitions, giveaways, fan art, flyers, posters, etc. Anything that showcases what it is you're selling and communicates this clearly to your fan base. As with the products, any content or marketing materials you create should be aligned with your brand and your ideal target fans, but these allow you to sell more confidently and aid you in doing so. It also helps for you to heavily promote whatever content you have created, and that allows it to do the selling for you. That's it for this week's podcast episode. I hope it's given you the steps to be more confident in what you are selling and the tools in order to be able to practice selling. I'll be back next week with a special New Year's Eve 2019 episode of the podcast, which takes a look back at the last decade in music, your journey as an artist over the last 10 years, and walks you through assessing the last year of your music career. Join me then. In the meantime, have a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Virtual Manager podcast. If you've found it useful, I invite you to check out the Virtual Manager membership site. The Virtual Manager is an essential resource for independent music artists who want to start, build, or grow a successful, sustainable music career. It ensures that you have the foundations of that music career in place, then helps you to build on those to achieve your music career goals. With monthly music industry training, a library of tools and resources, A&R feedback on your music, access to live Q&As with me, plus an active supportive community of like-minded artists, the Virtual Manager is the perfect place to be for any unmanaged or independent artist. The Virtual Manager relaunches very shortly, so to get early bird access at the lowest membership price, join the waiting list now at thevirtualmanager.co.uk. Finally, please take a minute to review and subscribe to this podcast. It helps more independent music artists to find us.